Good evening and welcome to the Lakewood Board of Adjustment regular meeting on August 5th, 2020 at 7 p.m. I call this meeting to order. Will the secretary please call the roll?
Board Member Bartlett.
Here.
Board Member Cohn.
Here.
Board Member Heel.
Here.
Board Member Kentner.
Here.
Board Member Miller.
Here.
Board Member Peters.
Here.
Board Member Stone.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Before we move to item 3, which is discussion of the board's options with regards to litigation, I'd like to ask Mr. Tuthill if he would be able to give us an update on the mediation pre-meeting today.
Yeah, I can do that. It has been a less than smooth ride in terms of getting the parties organized to discuss the pre-mediation and the mediation. However, there is a mediation phase 1, I'm going to call it, set for August 14th at 9 a.m. The parties were unsuccessful in finding any time between now and August 14th to discuss preliminary matters. However, the mediator has sent out his sort of agenda for the kind of topics he would like to discuss and the format for discussing them. And the Homeowners Association has sent as of yesterday, they sent a list of things they would like to see moving forward. And the mediator has requested that the developer provide their own version of what they might be willing to move toward and discuss in anticipation of the August 14th mediation. So there has been progress. There is a date certain at which the parties have allocated, to the best of my knowledge, all day on the 14th of August to talk. Everyone has indicated a willingness to bend a little bit in terms of what might be accomplished. And that's where things currently stand. I spoke to the mediator today, and I indicated to him that because the Board of Adjustment is an interested observer, but can't offer any solution or concrete action, I said, please figure out how you can work me, assuming my client authorizes me to continue to participate in the mediation, to be aware of what takes place. And he indicated that he is, a lot of mediations are what I call shuttle diplomacy of the Henry Kissinger style, and that dates me to a particular generation in which, you know, Henry Kissinger goes back and forth between the parties and talks to each one individually, and then they don't ever sit down in a room together. It is the mediator, Joseph McMahon, anticipates that there will be a lot more communal discussion in this particular mediation. And I have asked him to figure out how I don't get left out of the loop if it's not a communal discussion. And so, Chairman Heel, that's my update as to where things currently stand with regard to that. That's set for 9 days from today.
Okay, thank you, Bill. Are there any board member questions of Bill on that synopsis? Okay, I see a hand, Dale.
Thank you. Mr. Tuthill, I know that the homeowners associations and the developer at one point had started an MOU, memorandum of understanding. It was mentioned in the minutes I'd sort of forgotten about it until I reread the minutes. Are they going, is that a point of beginning for them in this mediation?
Don't know that that's a point of beginning. What they do want is the homeowners want to be able to have meaningful participation in future development of the property, whether it's this proposal or an additional proposal. You may or may not recall that there are actually 4 separate homeowners associations that are part of the Wilson ODP. And these particular groups who are currently participating in the litigation have indicated a desire to make sure that the other homeowners associations in the Wilson ODP have an opportunity to participate in discussions of future development. It may not be the White Fence Farms redevelopment, but in general, they're looking to find a more unified approach than they have in the past. Not that they've been contentious with one another, but that they are, part of their game plan is to say, look, the members of this community should have an opportunity and a mechanism for participating in discussions about development. And so as a starting point, that's one thing that they want to include. I haven't seen a response yet from the developer, but it's a discussion point that they have brought up.
Good.
Okay.
That's something we love to see is a discussion between developers and the people that live there nearby. That's always the best. Thank you.
Okay, I kind of had a follow-up question for Bill, and I think this relates to a request that Teresa made at the last meeting. Bill, did you have an opportunity to do the research you mentioned on home rule? To perhaps is now a good time to shed some light on that, or should we take that up later?
It depends on whether you're going to go into an executive session. I have had an opportunity to review the Article 20 of the Colorado Constitution, which addresses home rule. I read it's an old law review article, but it's on point on the home rule topic. I have looked at the annotations that deal with that. And I do have some opinions as to whether or not the home rule argument plays into what to do with a 3-3 vote. Or a tie vote. I would probably rather discuss that in executive session if you're interested in having one tonight. But that's the long answer to your question. Have I looked into it? Yes, I have. Do I have some opinions on it? Yes, I do. Am I wanting to share them at this moment outside executive session? Not necessarily.
Thank you for the complete answer. At this point, I think we'll proceed with item 3 and ask the clerk to read item 3, please.
Item 3, discussion of the board's options with regard to the litigation against the board regarding the White Fence Farm redevelopment.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. Since we are continuing this discussion, I will simply open the discussion to input, and please use the raise your hand feature on the board, because that's probably the best way to let me know your hand is up. So would anybody like to proceed with the discussion to begin? Well, I don't see, hold on, there's a hand, okay. I had 2 show up and disappear. Dale, did you have a hand up?
I did.
Okay, Ms. Kentner, did you have a hand up? No, you didn't. Okay, Dale, please proceed then.
I would like to hear, or I think we did just get an update, and I intimated, I guess, or suggested that I personally am happy to see that the homeowners association and associations rather, and the developer are talking. I know that they did before. They had started writing an MOU that was never executed. And I guess the discussion about our topic, which is our options regarding the litigation, I feel that we should let this play out and go past this mediation, see if as much as possible, let them take care of the mediation themselves without our interaction. I think that one thing that Mr. Tatil had told us is that if we were to take any sort of action, it could actually complicate their mediation. And I don't think that's what we want to do. I think that all of those parties are spending a lot of money already on legal advice and on other obviously other things too. And I think that that if they take care of this without our interaction or interference, I think that's the best route. That's one thing we would have loved to have them do before it came to the board in December. We would have much preferred that the developer in any situation, whether we're hearing it as a Board of Adjustments or a Planning Commission, that the developer works with the neighborhoods as much as possible and they come to agreements. It's always the best course of action. So my suggestion is that we wait until after the 14th and see what happens, and have Mr. Tuthill then report back. And if they're making good progress, I think we should let them continue. That's my thought. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Dale. Any other hands up for comment? I am not seeing any hands. So at this point, I will consider the discussion complete, but I would like to leave item 3 open as we did last time at Mr. Tuthill's recommendation, since we may or may not need to pick this up in terms of action should we convene an executive session and come out of it with a sense of needing to take steps. So following the pattern of what we did last time, I'm going to leave item 3 open so we can come back to it if we need to. And I have a question for Mr. Rice regarding a point of order here. Since this is a continuation meeting, we have a motion on the table. And I think we would also need to make a motion to go into executive session. So my question is, can we make a motion to go into executive session while the existing motion is on the table, or do we need to clear the existing motion from the table in order to go to executive session?
I have an opinion on that, and I will tell you that it is my opinion you can go into executive session for the right reasons at any time during your meeting.
Okay. Thank you, Bill. That clarifies that. So with that, then I will ask Mr. Schultz to please read item 4.
Item 4, request for executive session pursuant to Colorado Revised Statutes 24-6, 402, 4B for the purpose of conferring with an attorney to receive legal advice.
Thank you, Mr. Schultz. And so do I have a motion to go into executive session? Is there a motion? I do not see a motion. So gone. So that will close item 4, executive session. Oh, yes, what? I see a hand now.
Board Member Peters has her hand up.
Okay, I'm sorry, that's just not showing up on my board, but I
That's
also
okay.
now
I
see.
didn't get the raise hand function in time. I'll make a motion to go into executive session.
Okay, we have a motion. Do we have a second? Is that a raised hand, Teresa?
Yeah, that's me.
We have a
I'll
second. So, okay, Board Member Peters made the motion to go into executive session, and Board Member Stone has seconded that. So with that, is there discussion or comment? Johan, I see a hand.
I just had a question. What will be the topics we will be looking at in this executive session? May I ask? Because
I would open that to
I think Mr.
motion
Tuttle
maker.
said previously he wanted to confer with us on an article that he was, or on something that he wanted to present to us in terms of what he read in Home Rule. And then we are now on another item. Can I have some clarity on that?
Mr. Cohen, I would presume that the purpose of the legal advice would be to discuss the legal strategy and options available to the board with regard to the Rule 106 action, and to discuss my current interpretation of the home rule powers of the city and county, of the city of Lakewood with regard to how to handle tie votes of the Board of Adjustment under both your municipal code and the bylaws that are governing the Board of Adjustment, and to provide my legal advice and strategy with regard to those topics. And assuming that that's what the board is interested in doing, that's what I'm thinking might occur during our session under 24-6-402 Paren 4B.
Okay. Thank you.
Did the motion maker want to add any additional information?
That's correct. That is the intention.
Okay, so we have a motion and a second, I believe. Is that right? Commissioner or Board Member Stone. So any further discussion? I see Dale has a hand up.
I just want to clarify that there was some mention of strategies and that sort of thing, but actually what we're talking about discussing is how what Mr. Tuthill found with regard to home rule may have an impact on tie votes. And so this would be something that would inform the board perhaps about future votes or past votes or something of that nature, but that's the limit of what this executive session is about. Is that right? You're shaking your head, the motion maker, so.
No, Mr. Tuthill had expressed that there was a broad spectrum of topics. I'd like to leave it to his discretion. And so if as he stated it, that's my intention, just to be able to have that full discussion on any topics that might arise out of that. Certainly it's inclusive of that topic, but not exclusive of any other topics, but all relating to the case.
I do then have a question for Mr. Tuthill regarding this. Is that it seems like that much of this is what we could discuss in the public meeting. You're thinking that there's a reason that some of it should be in executive session?
I do. You can always come out of executive session and provide direction to me as your legal counsel as to where you want to go. I would like to be able to candidly advise you as to what I think the consequences might be of different actions that you might take. And my experience, Board Member Miller, is that if I tell you in an open session what those consequences may be, I am going to see my words come back to me in a pleading filed by somebody else at some point in time. And that is just not my preferred style of doing business, to tip my hand. What you decide to do as a board will be up to you. You know, the consequences of what I think may occur as a result of that, I'd rather let those play out as they play out and not necessarily show my cards, for lack of a better term, in public. And so in that sense, you are free to discuss your courses of action. You're always free as a board to waive privilege, provided it's done by a majority of you. But until that time comes, I would rather at least give you my impressions and suggestions in a confidential attorney-client communication to begin with.
I appreciate that. And I understand you're concerned about words coming back at you speaking as a parent.
Okay, thank you, Dale and Bill. And I would like to add my comments too as well. I think I see a benefit to an executive session for the reasons that Bill has laid out. In particular, I think it's worthwhile to further explore the legal ramifications of the interplay of our rules and regulations with the situation that we're in, and to get legal advice in that instance. And as Bill has indicated, legal advice is appropriately dispensed in a private session rather than a session where the parties that are all parties to the lawsuit are observing. I think it would serve us better in clarifying our understanding if we have this executive session. So I would support it. Are there any other hands raised, comments, questions? Are we ready to have Mr. Schultz take a roll call vote? Hang on, I just got a little spam on my screen. That's gone. Mr. Schultz. I don't know if you guys get that. The Java tries to give me an update in the middle of these meetings all the time, and I've been down that road. I know it's not healthy for my computer. So anyway, Mr. Schultz, will you take a roll call vote?
Board Member Bartlett,
Are we voting just by voice or raising hands? What are we doing?
the vote would be by a roll call vote. So I
Sorry.
already on the screen if you could vote by voice.
Sure. Aye.
Board Member Cohn,
Yes.
Board Member Heel,
Aye.
Board Member Kentner,
Yes.
Board Member Miller,
Aye.
Board Member Peters,
Aye.
Board Member Stone.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Okay, very good. Then, Mr. Kirsch, will you, well, actually, no, where is, what happened to Jonathan?
Yeah, I will open up all the rooms, and then as we did before, since I won't be listening in on the executive session, if you take a break or if you're coming back, just shoot me a quick email saying, hey, we're coming back. We're taking a break, but we're coming back at such and such time to the main meeting, to the public part of it.
Chairman Heel, do you have the ability to contact Mr. Kirsch to do that?
Yes, I'll keep my email open so I can do that.
And Mr. Kirsch, there will be a recording of the executive session.
Yes, there will be. There'll be a participant with my name, Jonathan Kirsch, too.
Thank you.
And that one will be recording the executive session.
Thank you.
All right. So I'm opening all the rooms, and then go ahead and click join the room. And then once everyone's out, I'll start the recording.
Have fun, everybody.
Let's see.
Tuthill's report that he had discussed.
Hey, Jonathan, you're not muted.
I'm sorry?
You're not muted.
Oh, thank you.
You are welcome.
Whew.
Was the phone ringing?
So Mr. Hild, I think I'll just go ahead and mute everyone who's unmuted right now.
Oh, that's probably a very good idea. I left myself unmuted.
No worries. Do you want to say, are we, when you say 10 minutes, you mean 8:30 or?
I didn't notice what time I said that.
It was
but,
8:18.
8:18. Okay, 8:30 would probably be good because what
Okay.
what we decided to do was, convene back in the main screen in 10 minutes. So
Sure.
8:30
No problem.
fine.
Okay. Whatever.
Hello, Jonathan. I'm here.
What was that, Mr. Hill?
Yes, it's Alan. I'm back.
Okay.
Thank you.
Are we waiting until 8:30?
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jonathan said that's what he'll do. It'll be a little more than 10 minutes, it'll be 12 minutes, but 8:30.
Tim, is that your confidant?
What's that?
I think Tim's confidant is in the room with him there.
Oh. Where's the cat?
In another room.
Tim, is that a whippet? Kind of looks like one, maybe.
It's an Italian Greyhound, which is
Yeah.
one size down from a whippet.
All right.
Travel size,
Portable.
fun size, pocket size, you name it. We have real Greyhounds too, but he's more portable.
Wow.
You probably don't let the real one, the full-size ones, jump up in your lap.
I have an Aussie, but she prefers my partner, my girlfriend, over me, so she's not around here.
It happens. This
I'm
guy.
surprised you guys haven't seen my kitten tonight. She likes to prance across the keyboard.
I think we've seen your kitten in previous meetings.
You may have.
I haven't seen her yet, Bill.
She is the friendliest cat in the world. Every time the doorbell rings, she runs out to see who it is. And cats are not normally like that.
Yeah.
I had my legal administrative assistant here working yesterday, and she curled up in her lap while she was typing on my computer. So
All right, we got about 1 minute, unless everyone's back.
Yeah, I don't see everybody back yet, but
No.
let me readjust my screen here. No, still don't. We're missing a few.
So speaking of cats, my sister has a colleague who has a cat. And every time they're on a conference call, a video conference call, the cat thinks that the owner's talking to the cat. So anytime she says something, the cat's answering along with the other team members.
Okay, so Mr. Hill, it's been about 10 minutes. Do you want to wait a couple more? Is everyone here?
I can't tell if everyone's here from my screen.
I think we got everybody.
We got everybody?
Yeah, we do now. Yeah.
All right, I just didn't see that from the way my screen sits. Yeah, let's go ahead and reconvene.
Okay, whenever you're ready.
Yeah, I'm getting individual screens here. What am I doing wrong?
Oh, we want to go to
Gallery view.
Okay, there we go. I got exit full screen. I'm better. That's good. Okay, so we are back. It's 8:30 p.m. The Board of Adjustments has concluded the executive session. And at this point, we will continue with item 3 on the agenda. And I will ask if there is a motion that anybody would like to bring with regard to agenda item 3.
I'd like to make a motion.
Okay, Dale, please continue.
I'd like to make a motion that we continue this meeting until August 19th, when we have a planned planning commission meeting, and have this meeting continue to after that time.
Okay, is that you're complete there? Do we have a second?
Second it.
Okay, all right, Teresa Stone second. So we have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion on the motion to continue this meeting to August 19th? If so, please raise your hand electronically. I see no hands raised, so, oh, well, no, Dale's hand is up.
Mine is, I'm
Do you
sorry.
have further comments?
I do. I selected the 19th because we have a meeting scheduled that night already, and the 26th we have a meeting scheduled. I wanted to get some clarification. Maybe one date would be better than the other, depending on what we have scheduled for that night. And maybe Paul could give us some advice about what the 26th is actually a study session, I believe.
And Paul, if you'd like me to. The August 19th meeting, one of the cases for the August 19th meeting, the rezoning for 1350 Independence Street has been withdrawn. So that the agenda for that evening only has one thing at present. So if that would be an evening that you're looking at, it would be a regular meeting for the Planning Commission.
That sounds good to me if everybody agrees with that. So I'll leave the motion as it is.
Okay, thank you, Dale. Any further discussion? I don't see any hands raised, so we'll close discussion and I'll call for Mr. Schultz to do
Looks
the
like
roll call vote.
Board Member Peters.
Oh,
I
there's
had
a
a
hand.
raised hand. I'm sorry. I had a question on, what is the discussion topic on the 19th?
The item on the 19th would be a banking plan extension.
Say again?
A banking plan extension for residential allocations.
Okay, related to the strategic growth initiative.
Yeah, is that the 10700 West Exposition case?
Correct.
Correct.
Okay.
Any other comments or questions, Rhonda?
No, I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have something else that required a lengthy discussion that evening. Just trying to make sure we're managing our time so we don't potentially go too late. But it sounds like just having one item, I can't gauge the level of discussion, but the 19th is fine with me. Thank you.
Okay, do we need to touch base with Mr. Cox, Mr. Parker, Mr. Schultz? Are there any other staff concerns we need to? I guess we're already set for a meeting, so there shouldn't be any issues, right?
And Board Member Hield, it would be Mr. Tuthill and Mr. Cox. I think you'd want some input on if they can make the 19th.
I'm available.
Okay, and Bill, you're available?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So are there any, am I leaving anybody out that we need to consider here? I think we've covered the bases.
Yep,
But,
we're up here.
I'm sorry, can you say that again?
Everyone that you should invite is participating in the meeting. So
Tonight, so we're good. Okay, I just want to be sure I'm complete there. Very good. So are there any other hands up with regard to taking a vote on this meeting? Then,
That's okay.
so I will ask Mr. Schultz to take the roll call vote.
Commissioner Bartlett,
Aye.
It's board.
Commissioner Combs, Board Member
Yes,
Board Member Combs,
yes, aye.
Board Member Hield,
Aye.
Board Member Kentner,
Yes.
Board Member Miller,
Aye.
Board Member Peters,
Aye.
and Board Member Stone.
Aye.
The motion passes unanimously.
Very good. Okay, do we need to, at this point, discuss any agenda wording with regard to setting this meeting? Are we simply going to carry forward basically the agenda that we had tonight?
I don't think so. I will consult with Mr. Schultz and Mr. Rice just to make sure that we've covered your bases before the agenda gets finalized. But I think it's fairly clear you're just continuing the discussion that you've had on items 3 and potentially 4 tonight.
Okay. Very good. Then I guess we are complete in terms of setting that for the 19th. And that takes us then to the next agenda items, which would be 5, 6, and 7, approval of minutes. And I need to preface this by saying that I received a call about 30 minutes before our meeting tonight from a citizen who was concerned that the meeting minutes that we are being asked to approve tonight were not posted for the public.
Oh,
And, the agenda includes approving minutes. And, in my experience, city council always includes the minutes in their packet. And I think that's appropriate that the public have the ability to review what it is we are being asked to approve. So with regard to that, and please, Mr. Rice, let me know if procedurally I'm out of bounds here, but I would like to go ahead and pull these 3 agenda items with regard to minutes and ask that staff, that would be pulling agenda items 5, approval of minutes for the December 4th Board of Adjustments meeting. Item 6, approving of minutes for the January 15th Board of Adjustments meeting. And item 7, approving minutes of the January 22nd Board of Adjustment regular meeting. And I would like to request that prior to our next meeting, these meeting minutes be included in a packet available to the public, and that we simply put these agenda items on our agenda for that August 19th meeting.
And we can do that. And I may ask Mr. Cox to weigh in on this as well. So we haven't posted minutes in the past for the public to comment on because it's the board that is approving, or the planning commission, either one, is approving the minutes. If we get comments on the minutes, how do you want to handle that? It's not kind of subject to public discussion, kind of interpretation. The minutes are a summary, and they're not verbatim. They're a summary of the meeting as it took place. How do you want to weigh in on public comment?
That's a good question. I think, perhaps a good way forward would be to make the audio tapes available for these 3 meetings to the board members, and with the instruction that we review the printed minutes with regard to, how it, works with the audio, to see if we have any issues. I don't see that there is an opportunity for public comment generally in these meetings with regard to minutes. But to the extent, and I'm not suggesting that we do that, but to the extent that public comments are submitted via Lakewood Speaks, I think we should take that up when we discuss approval of the minutes. Does that suffice?
Yeah, minutes are a funny thing because they're important as part of the public process, but they're also considered sort of ministerial. The approval is kind of a ministerial act, and this is one of the rare cases where someone who didn't attend the meeting can actually vote on the minutes if their vote is necessary to pass the minutes. So you can turn to your colleague and say, I wasn't here on the 27th. You were. Are the minutes a fair reflection of what happened in that meeting? Yes, they are. And that person can vote. That's how the law has recognized the difficulty with boards like yours that don't meet on a regular basis to get those things done. I don't think there's a problem with having them out there for people to comment on, and they can do that through whatever channels exist now. But I'm not sure what we would do, since it is the role of the board to decide whether the minutes are accurate or not, and to approve them. Bill, do you have any other thoughts on this? I don't think there's anything wrong with having them posted as part of the agenda. It's not the way it's been done before, but.
Tim, in general, I will defer to you on this, but I agree it is a question of whether the minutes match the board's recollection of what took place. And the only time I have seen minutes corrected is when somebody says, hey, wait a minute, that is not how I voted, or that is not a comment that I made. I think that was misattributed to me when it was made by somebody else. And they will correct it or ask it to be corrected in the records. And then the minutes would be approved subject to the correction being made by the clerk. But they're not normally a function of public comment or debate. It's a question of whether it's accurate reflection of what the board remembers took place.
Yeah, that's been my experience too.
Well, with that in mind, is it appropriate to simply have them a part of the packet, but not take public comment on Lakewood Speaks? Would that be consistent with what policy normally is? I mean, I understand your characterization of what they represent, both of you guys.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
I'm not trying to muddy the waters here.
No, not at all. Board member Stone.
Yeah, thank you. I've had my hand raised for a while. I'm beginning to wonder if my camera's not working. A couple of things. I've never heard of meeting minutes, public meeting minutes being open to public comment. I don't think that that's the purpose of putting them in the packet. The purpose of putting them in the packet is so that people can get the background. They can read, they can understand, they can have a better context for the meeting and the discussion that we're going to have. So I'm with you, Alan. I don't believe we need to open them up. But I actually had my hand raised for a while because I don't know if this is a point of order. Do we need to vote to change today's agenda? Robert's rules? Parliamentarian?
To change today's agenda to reflect that the minutes are removed?
Yes.
That
we've taken it up. Yeah.
The chair has a lot of discretion in terms of running a meeting, and I wouldn't expect that you would go and amend an agenda to postpone a public hearing without some formal action. But again, with the minutes, if it's a question of whether they should have been in the packet or not, and we want to be sure that they're out there and they get postponed for that purpose, I think that can be done sort of by consensus, but I don't recall it being something that Robert's Rules addresses head on when regard to minutes.
Okay, thank you for, I'll relax. Thank you
for suggesting that. Yeah. I think there should be an agreement that we're going to take one course of action. I'm just not sure it has to be a formal vote.
So the minutes are draft, right? So they have not been approved by the board. And so that's the reason they're not included in the packet. Until the board actually approves the minutes, they're not valid minutes. When the minutes are approved, we do put them on the website. Minutes are available to the public. In including the minutes, so the way Lakewood Speaks is set up right now, we can put the entire the packet. So there's the agenda and any materials that go along with it. We can also include the minutes as well. There's nothing to stop the public from making comments on the minutes. So that's the reason they're not included as posted as part of the packet, because they're not approved minutes. So it's kind of the chicken and the egg thing. We can include them as part of the packet, and people can make comment. That comment will not change the minutes. The board is the body that would change the minutes. And then once they're approved, they go up to the website with all the other materials.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Dale, see your hand up.
I have a thought about that too. In my experience, we never made minutes public until they were approved by the board, because they are essentially approving them. We are saying, yes, this is what each of us are saying, that's what I heard, and that's what I said, and that sort of thing. And sometimes minutes are not recorded properly, or a single word is that put something in the negative instead of the positive, or vice versa, and we want to have a chance to correct that before it becomes public. I don't think there's really unless the public is saying that we're not reflecting accurately the meeting. I can't imagine what sort of public comment we would have, and I think that that's something that would come up after, and would have to come up after the fact, because we wouldn't have approved them yet anyway. It seems like seems unnecessary. Like I've never been of any group that followed Robert's Rules where that was the protocol. It's always after we approve them that they are made public. I don't know what city council does, but they're elected officials and we are not. Most of our meetings are not continued by these things. If we don't have meetings, we don't have minutes. The minutes are always for a meeting that has concluded.
Okay, are you complete, Dale? Okay, thank you. Teresa?
So thank you, Mr. Rice and Board Member Miller for reminding me that, yeah, putting draft minutes out there before we've had a chance to say, yeah, that's what I said, that's really risky. So I just want to thank you for reminding me of that. I can't see my organization taking that chance, you know. Better to be first time.
I'm sorry, I do think that is probably the best course, is to treat them as drafts that are not really intended for public review until they are approved by the board or the commission. I think that's the way it's typically done, whether or not it's addressed in Robert's rules. So I think that would be the preferred way of handling it, but it's up to you folks.
Well, Tim, I've got a follow-up question on that. If I heard you correctly, and certainly let me know if I didn't, City Council usually does publish them in their packet for approval the night of that meeting. Is that right?
Yeah, I think it's for the benefit of the members to be able to look at them and say, as we said, that's not what I said, or that is what I said. But
isn't that always available to the public? And I guess what I'm just asking is that we follow the same process.
Yeah.
For consistency.
Yeah, let me run that down and make sure we are accurately stating what happens with the city council, so that whatever you do with the packet that you have tonight, the minutes you have tonight, we'll report back to you at that meeting on the 19th and say, this is how it's done and this is how we deal with it. We recommend it be kept that way. I don't want to speak for the clerk. I don't always review every page of the minutes when they're in the packet. So I'd rather get that nailed down before we decide how to proceed in the future on these.
That makes sense. So with regard to the 19th, I still want to, make the decision as chairman to pull them for tonight, because I think we need to clarify this, and then we can go forward on the 19th, however that looks. Does that sound reasonable?
Yeah, I think that's fine. Since you have another meeting scheduled, you'll have the opportunity to approve them within a reasonable period of time. So.
Okay. Thank you. Well, then we will proceed to item number 8, which I'll ask Mr. Schultz to read.
Item number 8 is adjournment. I'm looking at mine and I believe it says adjournment, but I believe.
No, it's general business. No worries.
I pasted it and was quite worried. So item 8.
No worries. I see a couple, I see a Dale hand up. Dale, is your hand still up? Hello, Dale. Oh, okay, your hand is down.
Last time.
Okay, and my hand is down. So in general business, Mr. Rice, is there any item of general business that you like to bring forward?
Not at this time for the Board of Adjustment. We may have some other items to discuss a little bit on the 19th when we meet as a planning commission.
Okay, thank you. Mr. Schultz, anything to add?
I do not have anything to add, no. Thank you.
Okay, Johan, I see a hand up.
Yeah, I wanted to at least bring some attention to the 26th. I believe we have a planning commission study session, and that concentrates on our policies and procedures, which I believe need to be updated. Is that still on? And it, I guess that does signal some prep on our part in terms of at least getting the procedures and policies of the planning commission as opposed to the Board of Adjustment.
Right. I mean, that is a different, different body, actually, the planning commission, but as I understand it, that meeting is still on. Is that correct?
Okay,
Mr. Schultz?
That is correct. We still have the study session calendar.
and that will take, at least we can prep ourselves by looking at the current rules.
Right.
Yes.
Do we need an attorney present for that? That's a little bit off the subject of why we have Mr. Tuthill, but I wonder about the city attorney.
And I think I would, we're kind of meeting as a board, and we're talking about the body that functions as both a board and planning commission. My understanding was, so I think the answer to your question, Board Member Cohen, is at some point we'll need to involve the city attorney. I don't know that if we're there yet. I think we're still kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong, anybody, we're kind of still laying out what we're going to do, how we're going to put the rules and regulations together and so forth. And I don't know that if we need an attorney there yet to kind of walk us through the early stages of the process.
Okay.
That's my opinion, and I may be overstepping there.
Yeah, I don't want to open a discussion on the subject, but I think you've answered it adequately. Thank you.
Okay, very good. I guess we're complete then, that we have the meeting set for the 19th, and we will address the minutes situation at that meeting. And then we have a meeting set for the 26th of the other group of these same people. So even this is a Board of Adjustment meeting. I believe we're complete on our business for tonight. So I'm seeing no other hands with regard to general business. I will adjourn this meeting at 8:55 p.m. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And
Thank you.
Mrs. Peters, I hope that your son has a speedy recovery.